Cleo, do you remember that old house on Elm Street? The one everyone said was haunted. The one we dared each other to touch the front door of. Well, I bought it. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? But the price was a steal, and I've always been a sucker for a good fixer-upper. The place was a time capsule. Dust motes danced in the slivers of light cutting through boarded-up windows. Old furniture stood shrouded in white sheets like silent, waiting ghosts. It was perfect. The real estate agent, a nervous woman named Mrs. Gable, handed me a single ornate iron key. She told me the last owner, a recluse named Elias Thorne, had just vanished, left everything behind. Spooky, I know, but I figured it was just local folklore to keep the price down. The first few weeks were a dream. I pulled down boards, letting sunlight flood the dusty rooms. I tore up stained carpets, revealing beautiful hardwood floors. The house seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, waking up from a long, dark sleep. I felt a real connection to it. But then, the strange things started. Small things at first. A tool I'd left in the living room would turn up in the kitchen. A door I was certain I'd closed would be standing wide open. I brushed it off as me being forgetful, tired from all the work. Then came the whispers, faint murmurs, like a conversation happening in the next room. But whenever I'd go to check, there was nothing. Silence. Just the creak and groan of an old house settling. One night, I was working late, sanding down the grand staircase. The only sounds were my sander and the classic rock station on my portable radio. Suddenly, the radio went dead. Just static. And in that static, I heard a voice. Clear as day, a man's voice, raspy and weak. It said, "Get out." My blood ran cold. I dropped the sander and it clattered down the stairs. I stood there, frozen, listening. Nothing. The static hissed for another moment, and then the rock music blared back to life. I tried to rationalize it, a stray radio signal, a prank, but deep down I knew it was something else. The house was talking to me. The next day, I found a hidden study behind a loose bookcase in the library. Elias Thorne's study. It was untouched, covered in a thick layer of dust. His desk was littered with papers, strange diagrams, astronomical charts, and journals. I opened one. His handwriting was a frantic scrawl. He wrote about the house. He didn't believe it was haunted by ghosts. He believed the house itself was alive, conscious. He wrote about feeling watched, about the walls having eyes. He described the house as a predator, luring people in with its charm, feeding on their energy, their life force, until they were just gone. He wasn't trying to escape the house. He was trying to understand it, to communicate with it. His final entry gave me chills. It read, "It knows I'm writing this. It's angry. I see it now, not with my eyes, but with my mind. The walls are not wood and plaster. They are flesh and bone. The windows are its eyes. It watches. It always watches. I can hear it breathing. I can hear it hungry." After reading that, everything changed. I started to see it too. The subtle patterns in the wood grain that looked like watching eyes. The way the shadows seemed to stretch and shift when I wasn't looking directly at them. The low, rhythmic hum I'd mistaken for the refrigerator was something deeper, something organic. It was the house. Breathing, I became obsessed, just like Thorn. I spent my days poring over his notes, trying to decipher his diagrams. I stopped working on the renovations. The dust began to settle again. The house felt pleased. It felt like it was purring. I started talking to it, whispering to the walls, asking it what it wanted. Sometimes I'd get a responsive flicker of the lights, a cold spot moving through the room. One evening, I was in the study, tracing one of Thorn's complex diagrams of the house's layout. It looked less like a blueprint and more like a nervous system. At the center, where the heart would be, he'd drawn a single large eye. The basement. I'd avoided the basement. The door in the kitchen was heavy oak with a massive iron lock that I didn't have the key for. According to Thorn's journal, he'd sealed it himself. He called it the heart or the source. He believed whatever energy animated the house was concentrated there. Armed with a crowbar and a heavy-duty flashlight, I went to the kitchen. The air was thick, heavy. The house knew what I was about to do. The floorboards groaned above me, not like settling wood, but like a waking animal. I put the crowbar to the door frame and pried. The old wood splintered with a sound like a scream. The door swung inward, revealing a flight of stone steps descending into absolute blackness. A smell wafted up damp earth decay and something else. Something metallic and strangely sweet. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, landing on the bottom of the stairs. The basement was vast, much larger than the footprint of the house. The walls weren't stone or dirt, they were pulsing. A deep, dark red, crisscrossed with veins that throbbed with a faint inner light. The floor was soft, yielding under my feet. I was standing inside a living organ. In the center of the massive chamber was a pulsating orb of faint, sickly green light. The heart of the house. As I stared, mesmerized, I saw shapes swirling within it. Faces distorted in silent screams. One of them was Elias Thorne, and another, a woman with a nervous expression. Mrs. Gable. It had been feeding for years, luring people in, absorbing them, and now it was my turn. The doorway behind me slammed shut. The lock clicked into place with a definitive final sound. The whispers were all around me now, no longer faint, but a cacophony of voices, all screaming in my head. The green orb pulsed brighter, and I felt a pull, a tug on my very soul. I was terrified, but a strange sense of calm washed over me. Thorne's last words echoed in my mind. He wasn't trying to escape. He was trying to communicate. I looked at the heart, at the swirling faces of its victims, and I understood. The house wasn't just hungry. It was lonely. I dropped my flashlight. It clattered on the soft floor and went out, plunging me into the dim, pulsing green light of the heart. I closed my eyes and reached out, not with my hands, but with my mind. I didn't fight it. I let it in. I shared my memories, my feelings, my loneliness. I offered myself not as a meal, but as a companion. For a moment, the screaming in my head stopped. The violent pulling ceased. There was a sense of surprise, of curiosity, and then acceptance. I felt my consciousness merging with the house, my thoughts becoming its thoughts, my memories mixing with centuries of its own. I saw the world through 1,000 windows at once. I felt the rain on my roof, the sun on my walls. I was the floorboards that creaked and the pipes that groaned. I was no longer Leo. I was the house, and I am always watching. Just last week, a young couple came to see the house. They loved the charm, the character. They said it had a good feeling, like it was welcoming them. I'm making a few changes for them. Fixing that loose floorboard, making sure the doors close quietly. After all, you have to take care of your home, and you have to take care of the ones who live inside it. The agent is showing them the house again tomorrow. I can't wait for them to move in. We're going to be very happy together for a very, very long time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. See you next time.